Hello everybody, my name is Emily and I am a community advocate at Orange County Deaf Equal Access Foundation, and today I will be conducting an advisory board training. So we're going to start off with the basic. Our mission, which we know, is to ensure equal access of the deaf and hard of hearing community in Orange County, to grant them the same opportunities afforded to their hearing counterparts. Your role as board members is to work toward financially supporting the goals and mission of OCDEAF through fundraising and community activity. Now, we have a tax-exempt status because we are a 501c3 organization. It is important to understand that we maintain the rules so we do not lose our status. This is our agenda for the day. We will be touching base on each of these topics, which will go more in depth in a few board trainings later on. To start off, we're going to talk about the legal definition of nonprofit, which lies in the requirement for what must be done with the profits earned or received. Nonprofit organizations do not distribute profits to those who operate it, which in our case, the board members, directors, or the CEO do not obtain any profit from our revenue. Our role as a nonprofit, we are in jurisdiction under Greater Los Angeles Area Agency on Deafness. Because we are a sister agency, this means we follow their bylaws, policies, and so on. Anything we do must be approved by them. There are different types of nonprofits. For example, nonprofit organizations like us, we use our profits for the public interest. For-profit organizations have owners and is operated for their benefit. Here is a list of the governing documents that are necessary to start up and maintain a nonprofit organization. These are important documents to have on hand and easily accessible. They act as a guide to maintain the organization's mission and can be useful to double-check in moments of uncertainty. Our Form 990, application for exemption, and determination letter must be readily available to the public, either on our website or at GLAD headquarters. Any requests for these forms must be given on the same day. However, in our case, because our offices are closed on Fridays when we work from home, next business day is ideal. If we don't comply, we may be subject to fine $20 a day up to $10,000 max. Here you see an example of our 2022 Form 990, which was filled out by our CEO. On the right, you'll see a consolidated financial budget report. Form 990 is important to gain the trust of the people and communities that our organization serves. We are required to submit Form 990 on a yearly basis because we generate more than $500,000 in total assets. There are other 990 forms for organizations that have less profit. The consolidated financial information helps us keep track, and it makes it easier to fill out the 990 form when it's due. One thing that we need to look out for is unrelated business income tax. Now, that is a trade or business that is regularly carried on and is an activity that is unrelated to accomplishing our organization's purpose. So the intention for this is to prevent exploitation of our tax-exempt status because they are a tax-paying organization and it creates unfair competition with them. An example of unrelated business would be if we were donated an agency vehicle for our family outreach program, but decided that it fits our budget better to pay staff mileage than to maintain the vehicle, so we sold it. Profit from the vehicle would be subject to tax. This aligns with the activity that is unrelated to accomplishing the organization's exempt purpose, because selling the vehicle is not aligned with our purpose. There are exemptions to unrelated business income tax, such as sponsorships. So when we host our 50th anniversary gala, we will be requesting sponsorships from organizations to support the event. Money gained from the sponsorships are not taxable. One way to gain some supplemental revenue is charitable giving. While this is not something that we really do, it is so important to be aware of. If we decide to conduct charitable gaming within our organization, we are required to have a charitable gaming license from the state of California. We need to make sure that the gaming doesn't become a main part of our organization's activity. There are a few exceptions because of unrelated business income tax. So, for example, if the game is run by volunteers, the game is not subject to taxable income. Traditional bingo is another exception given the circumstances required or followed. It can be elaborated in another chain if we are interested in pursuing this form of revenue. Political campaigns is not something that we are actively involved in or pursuing, which we cannot because we are a charitable organization. Only action organizations can participate with a political campaign. However, because of the political environment in our country, it is important to be able to provide all of the information for our clients so that they can make an informed decision. However, we must maintain unbiased when assisting with political document translation needs, as we support all kinds of members from the deaf community with varying political beliefs. For this reason, lobbying in our organizations while legal in limited form is not permissible on our organizational level. We also are allowed to share resources with our clients, for example, the ASL video translation of ballots, the presidential debate, and etc. is okay upon their request. Here we have employment issues, not to be confused with having problems with our employees. That is a section for HR. This is the categories of workers that we have. Our most commonly used are employees and volunteers. Occasionally we will have independent contractors come for building repairs and maintenance. So this is how we determine their roles. We have behavioral control, financial control, and relationship to parties. The behavioral control focuses on how much we control a worker's behavior while they are completing their work-related tasks. Financial control focuses on who controls the aspects of finances for the worker. Relationship to parties. This is how our organization and worker relationship is perceived. For example, our board members are made up of volunteers since there is no financial compensation for their work. Here we have private enrollment, which means illegal and improper use of finances. So nonprofits are supposed to use our money to help the public. Private enrollment is for personal financial gain or improper use of finances, which is illegal. For example, if our director uses misplaced funds to increase her salary, this would be considered private enrollment. However, because we are funded by the state through the Department of Social Services, each financial decision is monitored and must be justified and approved through our certified public accounting. So the likelihood of a private enrollment happening in our organization is low, but it is still good to be knowledgeable. Okay. So because we are a non-profit organization, oftentimes we will get donations or free services from individual donors. A charitable contribution is a voluntary donation or gift for our organization without them getting or expecting something in return. Deductible contributions include money or property donations. It may also include out-of-pocket expenses when donors provide services. However, it has to meet the IRS requirement to be able to qualify for a deduction. Donor cannot deduct the value of their time and services provided for our organization. Our responsibility is we must provide written communication, such as a receipt or a letter showing the name of the organization, the date of the contribution, and the amount of the contribution. We also must be aware of the fair market value when it is applicable. This is something we will elaborate on in another scene. So I know this was a quick touch and go on a bunch of different topics and it's probably overwhelming. So I have a couple of suggestions I would like to make to moving forward. First, I wanted to collect the necessary documents and have them readily available in the event that someone does make a request for them. Second, I would like to recommend monthly board training, starting off with the 3 topics of governing documents, unrelated business income tax, and deduction. I also want us to do the IRS certificate training together, so that way when we're ready to create a fundraising action plan for the 50th anniversary gala, we have all of our ducks in a row and are able to conduct the event and its finances successfully. So there are not any resources in ASL to my knowledge, but this is the link for the IRS certificate training. They do provide captions on the videos. While very small, there is an option to open up a transcript to read in a regular font size. These are the names of 2 people within our organization I believe would be beneficial to contact. So because we need to collect the necessary documents, our board president may be able to help locate her. Alicia is the regional director for OCDEAF, and she would be a good contact to have to double check with the CPA for any concerns or questions related to our fundraising action plan. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.